military employee allegedly stole $100 million from a youth program. $100 million. Put up the picture for a mass. Some zigs and zags in this story. Let me take you to Texas. Janet Yamanaka Mello, a U.S. Army civilian employee, is charged with attempting to defraud the government for more than $100 million in taxpayer funds. The federal grand jury indicted her on 10 counts of fraud, alleging that she diverted money from her job into a sham company she established that was supposed to be dedicated to addressing the physical and mental health needs of children. Now, you got to understand something. She had an organization. She likely had a plug. You know what I mean? The wink and the nod. Somebody hooked her up. Somebody gave her unfettered access. And she was able to divert this money into a programmatic model that did not really exist, according to the allegation. 100 million? Usually that comes with a lot of checks and balances. There's protocol for adherence to federal dollars. There's an update of effectiveness so that program compliance can be established. What happened to these safeguards of taxpayer funding? The Justice Department released a statement which claimed Ms. Mello, who worked as a civilian financial program manager for Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, stole millions of Army funds, quote, by submitting fraudulent paperwork that indicated an entity she controlled, Child Health and Youth Lifelong Development, was entitled to receive funds from the military branch. Authorities say for almost 7 years. 7 years. She pulled the money from the 4-H Military Partnership Program to fund this bogus enterprise under the guise that CHYLD would, quote, provide meaningful youth development opportunities for military-connected children, end quote. The indictment states that Ms. Mello played on the trust she had developed over the years with her supervisors and coworkers to secure the necessary approvals. Ms. Mello is now facing charges including 5 counts of mail fraud, 4 counts of engaging in a monetary transaction exceeding $10,000 using unlawfully acquired proceeds, and 1 count of aggravated identity theft, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Each fraud charge carries a potential prison sentence of up to 20 years. Each spending statute charge carries a maximum of 10 years each and a mandatory minimum of 2 years for the aggravated identity theft charge. If convicted as charged, Mello could be sentenced to a maximum of 142 years in prison. As per the statement, she represented to the government that her organization provided essential services to military members and their families. However, instead of fulfilling service orders, she allegedly misappropriated funds, using them to acquire millions of dollars worth of jewelry, clothing, cars, and real estate. According to the court records, Mello purportedly utilized the embezzled funds to accumulate an extensive real estate portfolio, which included 31 properties. Among the holdings is approximately $3.1 million estate in Maryland, featuring 8 bedrooms on 58 acres and a 55-car garage. Another property Mello has is approximately $1.1 million residence in San Antonio, Texas. In addition to her real estate holdings, she possessed an impressive fleet of 78 vehicles, would make Rick Ross jealous. Among her collection were notable cars such as a 1967 Chevrolet Camaro SS, a 66 Chevrolet Chevelle SS, a 66 Ford Mustang, a 54 Chevrolet Corvette, a 1935 Plymouth sedan, 5 Triumphs, Maserati, list goes on. 1954 Chevrolet Corvette, 66 Ford Mustang, 5 Mercedes Benzes, Aston Martins, 2 of them, 2 BMWs, Ferrari, 165 Racer, and we had to stop the list. It was too many. The estimated values of these vehicles range from about $100,000 to $200,000 each. Court records state she owned 16 Harley-Davidson motorcycles that range in age from 1911, 7 single, to a 2021 Pan America. She also has a substantial collection of bling bling. More creatively, the DOJ claims she had over 18 million seized from 6 different bank accounts that were somehow tied to her name. The 57-year-old was further accused of repeatedly falsifying the digital signature of one of her supervisors to facilitate the release of the funds. The indictment, which was announced on December 6, 2023, also includes a note of forfeiture for the proceeds and properties acquired through the alleged criminal conduct. This means all of those assets, properties, and money may have to be turned over. 100 million, 7 years. What if she stopped in year 6? Could she have gotten away with it? She stole enough money. And let's be frank, there are countries that will not extradite an American unless it is a violent crime. She stole enough money to hop, skip, and jump to a non-extradition country, okay? She could have gotten away with it, which is another part of the insanity of this whole thing. 100 million, 78 vehicles, multiple homes, 55-car garage. Why? Why? The money was supposed to go to children, which means that you and I, our money that we pay in taxes, went somewhere else. Fraudulently went somewhere else. If people are concerned about the bottom line, taxes, why is this not front and center? Why do you not see candidates running for president, especially on the conservative side, talking about this? Why? You would imagine the fiscal conservatives would be all in a tizzy. Nope, that's not happening. The reason it's not happening is because talking about spending money, well, it's just not popular when Trump is the standard bearer of the party, because people can easily bring up how much money he spent. All right, Mr. Cousins, thoughts?
To me, there's no way that this woman did this by herself.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at $100 million over 7 years. Somebody at some point had to have raised some kind of suspicion. And I assume as this goes forward, we're going to learn a little more. Maybe she's willing to help throw a couple other people under the bus here, but you're working with other human beings in that office. Somebody at some point is going to say, hey, wait a minute. I've noticed that you drive a different car to work every day. That's weird because I make the same salary as you and I'm struggling to make my car payments here. It's not like you're a CEO. How do you have this? How do you have this wonderful home that you're always jetting off to? Somebody, I mean, because look, we've all worked in offices. We've worked with other people. Everybody knows certain things and we notice certain things. You come into the office wearing a, $80,000 necklace, somebody's going to say, whoa, that's a little rich for this area. Somebody somewhere had to have raised some kind of suspicion, and somebody higher up had to have ignored that. And I think this is just the head of it, right? This is the rotting head of the fish, but we're going to find the rest of it, and we need to. And this is also a good indication of how there's just so little accountability for Pentagon spending across the board. This is why they failed every audit for the last
Right.
6 years. Somebody should have noticed $100 million disappearing, and suddenly, this regular worker has all these mansions, all these cars. No, I do not believe she did this on her own. She may have, slipped somebody a little something here and there. We don't know, but this investigation, it definitely has got to go deeper, because there's no way somebody can pull this off unless they're just a super villain, level of criminality here. Somebody else had to have known and turned a blind eye to it. At least one other person.
Yeah, and the thing is, the protocols obviously were completely relaxed, as the federal government has alluded, because of her relationships. That is obviously bad, to manipulate your friends and coworkers. But the reality is, those protocols are not there because it's a good idea. They are there because it is not their money. It is our money. Nobody requested a picture of the children. Like, did y'all go to summer camp? Anything? Nothing? You're not required to give any information about $100 million. You can't hide $100 million. You may be able to hide 100,000, but you can't hide 100 million.